Hello guys, welcome to Kay's Corner where positive vibes transforms lives. Join me on a journey of empowerment and embrace your full potential. So today's topic is grateful for regrets. And I think that this is very important to talk about because it's important to talk about our past experiences and how they mold our perception of our daily lives and how they shape us and the way we view different scenarios. So, this is a very important topic. And today I'll be talking about 10 ways on how you could become more grateful for your regrets and or your past experience. So we're going to talk about 10 reasons to be grateful. And the first reason is learning and growth. So your regrets will provide valuable lessons and are stepping stones for personal development. Why is this important? This is going to keep you from being stagnant. If we talk briefly about the laws of the universe, you have to grow. If you stay stagnant, you will repeat the same lesson over and over until you learn from it. And you see this in any life, like life decision. Like if you fail a test, you have to retake it to pass. If you fail the third grade, you have to do the third grade over in order to pass. Hypothetically speaking, I know like they'd be moving the kids up nowadays, but hypothetically speaking, when you fail something, you have to repeat it. And that is how it is in real life. Like you would have to, God will show you the same lesson in at your job, in your relationship, in your friendships, and over until you learn what the lesson is, or what you should be taking out of that experience. So being grateful for learning and growing is one way that you could embrace your regrets and or your past experiences. And again, when we talk about regrets, it's anything you deem as a regret, whether it is a mistake you made or anything else that you feel like is a mistake and you don't want it to happen again, or you wish that it never happened. Again, if it's a regret, that is what I'm talking about, okay? And learning to grow from them and learn from them. The second is wisdom through reflection. So expressing gratitude for your regrets is a reflective mindset. It's important to have this because when you look and introspect and you acknowledge your regrets, it contributes to your own self-awareness, okay? So this is where you can reflect and say, well, why did I make that choice, right? What type of emotional state, mental state, physical state, financial state, whatever, right? Whatever state you were in, why did you choose that decision? Why was that decision the best decision you made in that state? And then it's going to reflect like, okay, boom, well, this is what triggered that decision, right? This is what moved me towards this and not this, okay? So we'll talk a little bit about stepping out of the box, but why did you choose that decision? Really reflect on that. Really reflect on the why, the who, what, when, where, why, all of that. Ask yourself these questions. Reflect, because the more you are self-aware, the less, number one, will you do that mistake again or that get involved in that regret again. And two, the more you know about yourself, the less someone can come and tell you about yourself. Okay, I see this very often. Like somebody could sit there and say, oh, you're a narcissist, right? People are throwing that around a lot recently. And if you're not self-aware, you might adopt the belief of someone else. Like, am I a narcissist? How did I become this? Is it my upbringing? Is it my trauma, right? The more you're self-aware, the less someone can come in and tell you who you are. Okay? And that's super, super important, because you don't want to then adopt everyone else's belief of who you are, and that might not even be you. So, wisdom through reflection, always reflect when you regret something, always reflect on why you did it. Okay? Why'd you do that in the first place? Third reason for being grateful for your regret is resilience building. Turn regrets into opportunities for resilience. It helps you navigate challenges for the future. Okay? So, obviously, we've all grown up with whatever doesn't break us, make us stronger. That can go for mental and emotional too. Okay? And it's usually mental and emotional, right? It's always a battle between your mind. And so, building that resilience, being able to overcome those obstacles for, no matter what the situation is, being able to become stronger the second time around. And obviously, this is a part of the learning and growth, right? This is a part of being reflective, is resilience building. Take the opportunities of whatever it is that you regret and use that for future challenges. Use that for the future. Okay, I've seen this before. I've seen this before because I recognize the feeling. I recognize the trigger. I recognize the words. I recognize the tone. I recognize the situation or the circumstance and how it makes me feel in that correlation. Okay? So, resilience building. Again, these things only make you stronger. And have that perception like, oh man, this is a very challenging moment. I am feeling guilt. I am feeling shame. I'm feeling this regret. How can I change this to something that I could overcome? How do I overcome this feeling? And using that opportunity, okay, to become stronger. Okay, I'm stronger this time. Okay, and that goes on to the fourth reason of being grateful for your regrets, and that is forgiveness and acceptance. Right? So, forgiving yourself and accepting your imperfections, finding peace, closure, and developing self-compassion. So, I'm going to break that up to two: forgiving yourself and accepting imperfections. You have to understand that no one gets a manual at this thing called life. No one has a manual on how to do it 100% correct. No one has that. So, what do? You forgive yourself for that imperfection. And you're imperfect. No one's really perfect. You are going to make mistakes. Again, that's part of the learning and the growing. Learning and the growing. And you see this a lot in any place, whether it be jobs, relationships, whether it be romantic or platonic, or even with your family. Maybe you've said something you wish you didn't say, or maybe somebody died and you wish you would have said more, and you're regretting that, right? You're dealing with the guilt and the shame. Accepting your imperfection. Well, I acknowledging, okay, I'm not perfect. Maybe I should have said this. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. And reflecting on it and forgiving yourself. And because you know better, then you do better. Okay, so forgiving and accepting who you are and who you were at that time and who you can become and who you want to be, and more emulating who you want to become rather than who you were. Again, it's all a part of learning and growing and reflecting on these things. That's why it's so important to reflect. Okay, finding peace, closure, and self-compassion, developing that self-compassion. I noticed that a lot of our depression and anxiety is because we're really hard on ourselves. And always ask yourself this: Would you say that to your boss? What you're telling yourself on the inside, right? That's beating up your mental and emotional state of mind. Would you say that to your boss? Would you say that to your child? Would you say that to your coworker? Would you say that to your friend? And if you feel like you wouldn't say that to them, you shouldn't say it to yourself. This is going to be a reflection of your self-love. Okay? So, finding peace and closure. Finding peace, okay, I did that thing. I made that mistake. Closure, okay, what's my closure? My self-reflecting, my learning, my growth, wisdom through reflection, resilience building. What did I gain by making that mistake? I gained wisdom. I gained experience. Okay, that's important. That's very important. And obviously, again, developing that self-compassion. Going back to like, would you tell that to your boss? And if you wouldn't, then don't say it to yourself. Okay? When you are talking to yourself or about yourself, be productive about it. Don't say something that's going to tarnish your self-image, that's going to tarnish your self-esteem, your confidence. Don't take that regret and say, I can't do anything. Is that helpful? No. Well, I couldn't do anything at the time. And because I made this mistake, instead of saying I made this mistake, I'm a dummy, you can say, because I made this mistake, and change it to something positive. Or because I yelled at my child, I learned more patience. Or because I said this, I learned that. Okay? So really trying to, again, reflect and change things from negative to positive. Okay? Because what's the consequence if you tell yourself you're a dummy, or you can't do anything right, or I'm always doing something, right? It's not going to end up positive. Okay? So have self-compassion. Again, no one's perfect. Embrace those imperfections and learn and grow. Reflect, learn, and grow. Fifth one, important, your regrets are a motivation to change, right? I did this. Because I did this, I know better, so I do better. Okay? It helps you better pursue your goals and make better decisions. So your regrets are really going to redefine your decision-making skills. Okay? And that's important. Why is that important? Because it's a part of your growth. It's a part of your journey. Okay? It's a part of the human experience. Okay? Again, don't expect perfection, especially if you are dealing with that situation or that circumstance for the first time ever. Again, we don't get a manual. So it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to maybe bend a rule that you didn't know should be bent, or cross a boundary that you didn't know should be crossed. It happens. Okay, it happens. Obviously, we would try to take precaution for prevention, but again, that's not always the case, especially for us folks that's been through trauma, adverse childhood experiences, all of these things. It's hard because sometimes we didn't have that example to emulate. So again, learning to make better decisions, right? That regret, that past experience helps you make better decisions for the future and better goals. Okay? So what I mean by that is like, okay, I don't want to replicate that person I was, or I don't want to replicate that person that said this or that person that did this. I want to become this person. This person is irresponsible, and the way he or she or they dealt with that situation, I want to be more responsible. So now you're setting a goal for yourself. Okay? So motivation to change. Number 6, connection to others, right? The relatability of regrets is a universal human experience. Everyone makes them. Everyone makes a mistake. Everyone has a regret. Everyone has a past experience that they're not proud of. Okay? We're all relatable. And that's why it says in the Bible, that's why Jesus said to those men that were about to stone Mary Magdalene, the holiest one out of you throw the first stone, cast the first stone. And everyone dropped their rock. Everyone dropped their stone. Why? Why? Because no one's perfect. Everyone has sinned in their own way. Everyone has regret and makes mistakes in their own way. And that's what makes us relatable to one another. And another thing as part of connection to others is building empathy. This builds empathy. I can understand what you're going through because I went through the same thing. I can understand your feelings because I felt that way. I've felt guilt. I've felt shame. I've felt regret. Okay? Connection to others and empathy towards others. Okay? I feel like we live in a very cruel world, and having empathy towards one another is something that's great, especially during the time of cancel cultures. Oh, that person's canceled. That person's out of here, right? Lack of empathy. People make mistakes with their speech, with, their behaviors, their conduct. People make mistakes, okay? Number 7 is you get redefined perspectives out of these past experiences. So regrets can reshape perspectives and priorities, okay? So boom, I made that mistake in, again, screaming at a toddler, right? What's my new priority? Communication, patience, okay? It reshapes perspectives. Okay, well, I seen that this hurt that person, or I seen that this changed the situation at hand. This escalated the situation at hand. Now you have a different perspective. Now you know, okay, again, better decision-making skills for the future. I'm not going to go there. Self-awareness. I'm not going to go there again because I know how I get. I'm self-aware of my feelings. I'm self-aware of my image. I'm self-aware of my conduct, my behaviors, of when I'm triggered. I'm self-aware of my triggers. Okay? So it helps you reshape your perspective and your priorities. Getting your priorities in order, that's okay. Again, that's part of learning and growing. That's part of reflection. You gain wisdom through reflection. Okay? I heard a quote that was like, a fool learns through life experiences and a wise person learns through vicarious experience. Okay? So you could learn through others, but again, if you couldn't learn through others and you're learning and you're being better, you're still becoming wise. You're a fool if you continue to have the same behaviors, same thought process, same mentality, same mindset, and you want different results. Okay? Redefined perspectives gives you a richer life experience. What happens when you get your priorities in order? Organization, a more organized, a more routine lifestyle, a more scheduled lifestyle. Okay? Redefining perspectives. I used to think this way, but because of my regret, because of my life experience, now I think this way. I used to be really hard on myself and hard on others. Now I'm more compassionate towards myself and more compassionate towards others. Changing perspectives, redefining, fine-tuning the way you see the world, the way you see yourself, and the way you see others. Number 8 is creativity and innovation. And this was piggybacking off of reflection, okay? Becoming self-aware. Your regrets are going to inspire creativity and innovation within yourself by rectifying regrets, right? If you made a mistake and you can rectify it, go back and rectify it. And it leads to unique solutions and out of the box thinking. This is important. This is important, especially for, again, those who never had those role models. So the reason why you behave a certain way is because you had that role model to you, either through your parents or through whoever raised you, or through teachers. Some of these people could have been toxic. And now you're reflecting that behavior, or a toxic partner. Now you're like that person more than you are like yourself, just to protect yourself from people like them. But now you're that person. It's a revolving door. It's a cycle. So now you have to think outside of the box. What's outside of the box? Let me not be toxic. Let me use, instead of screaming and escalating, let me use effective communication to describe my emotions, describe my triggers, describe my boundaries, okay? Instead of just going from 0 to 100. Okay, thinking outside of the box. What have you been taught? What have you been taught to think like? What has been your programming your whole life? Think outside the box. I used to see my mom start screaming every time she became worried. So guess what you're like when you get worried? How can you think outside of that? Get therapy, get a life coach, thinking outside of the box. My mom or my dad turned to alcohol when they were depressed. I'm going to turn to therapy. I'm going to turn to positive things. Okay, thinking outside of the box. Number 9 is embracing your imperfections. That's kind of like going back to your connection to others and accepting your human experience, embracing these imperfections. Okay? Again, no one's perfect. What's the beauty of that? What's the beauty of your imperfections? The beauty is I got to learn. I got to grow. I got to reflect. I got to gain wisdom because I reflected. I got to become more resilient. I got the motivation and the inspiration to change. I can have more empathy towards others. I have a relatability to others now. Okay? What is the beauty in embracing these imperfections? Because we all have them. They're what makes us stronger. Okay? Own it. That's your life experience. And the last one is empowerment. Okay? Which is what this YouTube channel is all about. Empowerment. Okay? Your regrets and your past experience signifies taking control of your own narrative to shape a more intentional and fulfilling future. Okay, so you get to take control now of this narrative. I regret this and it made me feel like I'm this. Control the narrative. Well, because I have this past experience, I learned. And that's a good thing. Okay? I'm not stupid. I'm actually smarter because I'm not doing it again. Okay? I did feel guilt and shame. I was embarrassed. Okay? But that's the nature. And accepting the flaws and all. Accepting that your emotions are correlated to that and you don't want that to feel that ever again, and so you prevent. You're now stopping. You're now yielding. Okay, wait a minute. Right? Again, you have a redefined perspective. Okay, now you're thinking outside of the box. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to go there. Okay? Shaping that narrative and becoming more intentional Again, that past experience is now going to mold how you are today, the conduct, the behaviors, the mindset, the mentality. You're more intentional. You're becoming more intentional. Okay? Because you now learned, you now grew from that experience. You're not the same person. Okay? So this is what's going to really help you have a more fulfilling future. Why? Because you are thinking more now. You're more reflective now. You're relying less on emotion, more on logic, and so now you're less impulsive. Okay? This is all a part of your beautiful human experience. And don't let anybody make you feel like crap about it. We're all imperfect. Okay? And again, holiest one out of you to cast the first stone. Okay? Be thankful for your past experiences. Be thankful for all of those little mistakes that you've made, all of the regrets that you've made. Switching into positive, right? Looking, at your past relationships. Instead of saying, oh, this person was a narcissist, and because of that, I have all this PTSD. No, say, I learned from that. I learned to love myself more now. I've learned to appreciate my own boundaries now. Okay? All of these things, they help us grow. They help us become better. Okay? Thinking outside of the box. But don't look at what she did, he did. If it was effective, great. But you always understand you are your own unique presence. Okay? And what works for you is what's going to work for you. Okay? You are a loving, beautiful person that has come to this earth to just experience life. And that's all. Okay? So catch you next time for more positive vibes. And don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and all of the above. Love you guys. Bye.